New Japan Pro Wrestling just recently had a show in Nagoya, New Beginning in Nagoya to be exact, which saw independent death wrestling match legend Will Ospreay take on Satoshi Kojima, and Tanahashi and Shingo Takagi in what could be
the greatest wrestling match ever.
We also just came off of the Royal Rumble. I give my thoughts and full-on review of the Royal Rumble, also getting into Jay White making his return back to New Japan Pro Wrestling and why I think it's a odd way to bring him back, and Jon Moxley also making his way back to New Japan, but not exactly. Talking about that all here and more on this, the 32nd episode of the Chill Spill Podcast. The S is silent, by the way. Yo, what is going on, guys? It is your boy Tyler Mask, aka Tyler Kun Williams, aka Tyler Suplex, aka the one who lived. And welcome to, I said welcome 3 times. I'm about to say welcome back. I'm about to say back 3 times. I mixed it all up here. Botchamania already. Welcome back to the Tyler Williams channel, and welcome back to the 32nd episode of the Chill Spill Podcast. And that is pill spelled with an S, but it is silent, unlike me, when the Melanin Queen herself won the Royal Rumble. I won't spoil which Melanin Queen, but just know I ain't gonna lie, I watched back my reaction to the winner of the Women's Rumble match, and I compared it to my reaction when Kota Ibushi won the IWGP Heavyweight and IC Championship at Wrestle Kingdom against Naito. And I feel like my reaction was a bit more lively when, the woman won the Rumble. Which, I don't know what that says about Ibushi. You know what it is? I'll chalk it up as it was very, very early in the morning when Ibushi won it. I'll chalk it up as that. But guys, welcome back. Welcome back, all of you who are watching this on YouTube. Thank you all for tuning in to the Tyler Mans YouTube channel. Make sure you guys go over to my Tyler Kun Williams YouTube channel. Give that a sub. Give this a like. However, over to twitch.tv/Tyler Suplex. Give me a follow there. And once you're finished doing all that, come back here. Let's hop straight into this podcast. So, we got off of 2 big shows last weekend, New Beginning and Nagoya for New Japan, and of course, WWE's Royal Rumble. I'm going to be reviewing both of them. This episode's really going to be dedicated to those 2 shows. So, without further ado, let's talk about it here. New Beginning in Nagoya. A 5-match show, rather short show for New Japan, but they also still have 2 more shows coming up. New Beginning in Osaka, nights 1 and 2. Night 1 will be on February the 10th, night 2 being on February the 11th. I'll preview those cards briefly after we get done this review, just to add some more to this podcast. But let's start off with the first match of the show, Kazuchika Okada and Toru Yano versus Evil and Yujiro Takahashi. This match existed just to have Okada and Evil on the card, and that's really all there is to say about this match. It went 10 minutes. It was okay. Okada and Evil, they're definitely having a match some point in the near future. I don't believe they're having a match at New Beginning in Osaka, which begs the question as to when exactly is the match going to happen. Now, I just said that out loud, and I just remember they're having Castle Attack, which is like a newfound pay-per-view they're doing. They're having Castle Attack at the end of February, so that I'm guessing that's probably, hopefully that's not the main event of Castle Attack, and we're going to get a championship match there, which, actually, you know what, now I think about it, we probably won't, because usually before the IWGP IC Championship was basically just a prop, whenever the Heavyweight Championship was a main eventing a show, it was the IC. But, like I said, now that the IC Championship isn't really in that position anymore, now you have chances for the Junior Heavyweight Championship to main event, or the Never Championship to main event, snicker, or a match of a high caliber like apparently Okada and Evil is. So, I expect that will probably be a main event of Castle Attack, but we shall see in the coming time. In the meantime, we get some more tag matches between these 2 men. Toru Yano did end up winning the match for his team with Okada by rolling up Yujiro to get the win. Shouldn't be expecting Evil to get pinned anytime soon leading into this match. But yeah, Okada and Evil, they're feuding again. You know, right after Castle Attack, we're going into the New Japan Cup. I could also see them doing Okada and Evil opening up New Japan Cup, seeing as they were the finals. You know what? That might actually be a better scenario than having Okada and Evil at Castle Attack main event. You know what? Take that back. Because I think that New Japan probably rather have Evil and Okada meet in like the semifinals again and have one of them get knocked out early. Which we would have gotten last year had we've gotten Okada and Jay White in the opening round New Japan Cup. So they could do another scenario like this year where you could have Okada get knocked out in round 1 by Evil. Because I don't think you should have Okada knocking out Evil in round 1. But, you know, Evil's kind of just been moved down ever since losing the heavyweight championship back to Naito. I mean, I don't want to say he's been moved down, but he's definitely not been propositioned as like the top heel. It's like as soon as Jay White came back, we all knew who the top heel was. It was Jay White, and it's been that ever since. Well, let me not say that because it wasn't that for the last month, but it kind of is now. We'll talk about that in a bit. But let's move on to the next match. We had Tomoaki Honma. Hey, look at Toma. Sho, Master Wato, and Kota Ibushi, God himself, versus Bushi, Hiromu Takahashi, Tetsuya Naito, and Sanada. It was a okay 8-man tag, your usual 8-man tag here in New Japan. Everyone got their work in. It's an interesting little feud we got going on here between Tomoaki Honma and Tetsuya Naito. It's not like a hellacious, you know, blood-heated rivalry or anything, but like it's just a nice friendly feud going on. I feel like it's probably going to build up to a opening round match in New Japan Cup. I can easily see them doing Naito and Honma in the opening round. I mean, obviously Honma's not winning this fucking feud, but you know, it's nice to see Honma getting some stuff to do in here. When I came into New Japan, Honma was already a New Japan dad, so I never got to see Honma in his prime. I've seen Honma versus Ishii from, like, I think New Japan Cup 2015, which honestly was a great match. Like, I've seen, like, one great Honma match. I have not seen a great Honma match since then. So, I'm not saying that Naito's going to carry Honma to his best match yet, but if we get a singles match between Honma and Naito, I expect Naito to bump his ass off for Honma and them to at least have a good match at best. We didn't see too much of Honma in this match outside of the Naito spots. At the end, we did see Sho get the win over Bushi with his shock arrow. So they're really building up Sho and Hiromu Takahashi for the Junior Heavyweight Championship. I don't think that's main eventing. No. Is it main eventing? I think that might be main eventing night 1 of the Osaka show. Let me check the old interwebs right quick just to check and see. If they are, then that's awesome, but I don't think... Oh, I keep on saying Osaka. You know what it is? Last year was Osaka. This year is Hiroshima. Let's check the first night. Alright, no, they are main eventing the first night. So, that's been confirmed. They are main eventing the first night, so that's great. And then, of course, Ibushi and Sanada are main eventing night 2. So, Sho gets the win over Ibushi. He stands tall. He's posing with Master Wato. Master Wato, I'm actually pretty happy for the guy because when he came into New Japan with the Master Wato gimmick, I ain't gonna lie, I did not like it. He just looked like a blueberry fucking Oompa Loompa. Why am I roasting Master Wato here? He looked weird. I'll just say he looked weird. He looked unconventional. He didn't look like a threat or anything. Like just the way his build was, his frame was, it was just nothing about him screamed star. We're almost 6 months into Master Wato in New Japan. I can honestly say, well, I can't say he screams superstar to me. He looks a lot better. He's put on some weight, and not like the bad way. Like put on muscle. Put it that way. He's put on some muscle. You know, he's toned up a bit. Probably been taking some pointers from Tanahashi and Jay White on how to build up. You know, he dyed his hair a darker shade of blue. It's not blueberry blue anymore. It's like a darker shade of blue. He changed up the gear. It's a bit of a darker shade of blue once again. Like, the light colors was probably what was throwing me off so much. Now he looks like an actual wrestler that I can take seriously to an extent. And he's not doing the whole... He doesn't look awkward anymore, too. He looks like he knows what he's about. He knows the character. So I don't know how else to say without kind of burying Master Wato in the beginning stages, but like he just didn't know what he was. Now he's figuring himself out. He kind of knows what he is. That's all good. He's been getting some wins on this New Japan tour. Hopefully, what this could mean is that we'll be getting Master Wato and Hiromu in a future match going forward, or maybe even Master Wato on Show. But we'll talk about that a bit later on. But Show got the win here. We didn't hit to the next match. Hiroyoshi Tenzan versus the Great Okan for the right to be the sole holder of the Mongolian shop. As you guys know, Hiroyoshi Tenzan is the inventor, the innovator of the Mongolian shop. Great Okan, since coming back to Japan, has been using the Mongolian shop. And using it much better, in my opinion. And it's not the way he does it. It's not even the execution. It's all in the scream. When the Great Okan lifts his arms up and does the and then I'm so sorry, but when he does the arms up and he does the whole little primal scream, whatever the hell he does, I don't know why, but it adds so much more to the chop. It just does. It just does. So if there's anything about the Great Okan character I like, it's the fucking Mongolian chop. So when I went into this match and I saw the stipulation, outside of me actually liking the way he integrates that scream into the chop, I said, this man walked into Wrestle Kingdom 15 against Tanahashi and took an L. He shouldn't be taking another L, especially to Tenzan. I know Tenzan's a legend, he's a former heavyweight champion, all that kind of stuff, but Tenzan is done. He's past his prime. I know he's the one who invented the chop. Well, not invented the chop. He's the one who innovated the chop. He's the one who made it famous in New Japan. But he's 50-something years old. His time has come and gone. It's time to put over the next generation. The only right outcome was for Great Okan to win this match, and we did get that. Now, the match itself was nothing to brag home about. It was okay at best. The Great Okan, in my opinion, is still not very proficient in the ring. I think that throwing him in the ring with a slower-paced New Japan dad like Tenzan wasn't really a good idea, but they had to get from point A to point B somehow in order to get the chop away from Tenzan and permanently on the, Okan, so I understood it. Okan did win the match with the Eliminator Claw. He pinned Tenzan and won the match, so he now is the holder of the Mongolian chop. And that only will make him look better going forward. Now, I want him to also look better in the ring going forward. So hopefully he gets paired off with better opponents. And that's not to say that Tanahashi wasn't a good opponent, but I didn't think their match at Wrestle Kingdom was any good. And the match here was, I would say, worse. And it's not like he's having bad matches. It's just that his matches aren't very enthusiastic. There's nothing about his matches that are really like, damn, I really want to see Great Okan wrestle this guy. Like, I hear Great Okan, I'm like, yeah, that's the guy who does the loud chops. Like, that's it. That's all I think about when I hear Great Okan. Nothing about him screams, I want to see him wrestle. So hopefully we get him in here with some other talented guys who couldn't elevate him and can make him do better. He's already come back from excursion, so obviously he's a finished product, apparently. But with due time, he'll get better. That's how I see it. Then we get into the co-main event of the evening. We had Satoshi Kojima versus Will Ospreay. Earlier in the podcast, I called him Deathmatch Wrestling Legend Will Ospreay. And I'm going to call him that from now on, because in this match, Will Ospreay came down to the ring with a guitar, a trash can, an aluminum pan. He had stuff in the trash cans. It brought me back to the days when I watched ECW and Tommy Dreamer come down to the ring with a trash can full of weapons. That's what I thought of when I saw Will Ospreay here. And I immediately got giddy. I'm like, yo, Will Ospreay's not white bread anymore. I mean, let me not say anymore, because he's probably still going to do the white bread heel shit. But he's not white bread in this match. He actually has some substance, which Ospreay lacks a lot. Like, I know Ospreay's a heel now, and we get that he's a bad guy, and he's like, big pimpin' Ospreay, but like, I feel like he lacks a character depth. He lacks something. This was something. I don't think permanently it's going to stick, because I don't see Ospreay wanting to do this every single week, nor would I think that it should be an every week thing. But seeing Ospreay come out with the trash can and guitar was really cool. And then he got into the ring with Kojima. Kojima's 50 years old, mind you. This is a no DQ match. Also should mention that. Ospreay didn't come down to the ring with a trash can for no reason. It's a no DQ match. They got into the ring, and it's New Japan Pro Wrestling, right? You hear no DQ match, and the first thing I think about is Chris Jericho, because Chris Jericho had a good few amount of no DQ matches in New Japan. He had 2 against Naito, both of them were good, especially the Wrestle Kingdom 13 match, and then of course the legendary no DQ match he had with Kenny Omega, the match that really set the tone for everything that came afterwards, as far as AEW, New Japan's really whitewash, all that shit. Why'd I say that? I said what I said. Anyway, Will Ospreay coming out with the trash can and all was cool. I expected, it's Satoshi Kojima. He's a lot older. We'll see a few spots here and there, but it ain't gonna be anything to the level of Omega and Jericho. And I don't think it was Omega and Jericho, and it didn't have to be Omega and Jericho. I was just hoping that it would be. However, what I can say is that this match didn't disappoint. If anything, I think it exceeded expectations, in my opinion. I actually thought this was a really fun match. I enjoyed this a lot. And they did use the weapons to their advantage. We saw the trash can used, we saw the lid used, we saw the aluminum pan used, we saw chairs and tables, and wrong sequence. We saw ladders and tables and tables. How did I get the sequence wrong twice? Tables, ladders, and chairs in this match. All of them were used, and I mean different sequence. We didn't see Ospreay climbing a ladder or anything, but we saw the ladder used at some extent in this match. Ospreay went through the ladder, he went through a table. Ospreay did take like 85% of the bumps in this match. I wasn't expecting Kojima to go flying off a platform through a table or anything, but Ospreay did take a lot of the damage in here, which kind of hindered the fact that he won, but I still enjoy what I saw here. I took what I got. And like I said, the fact that Ospreay took most of the bumps in this match, it should bug me, but when I think back to Julia versus Natsuko Tora from the recent Stardom show, where Julia basically no-sold almost every fucking move that Natsuko Tora did, it bugs me a bit less. So, like I said, I'll take what I can get. Ospreay did end up winning this match. He used the aluminum pan and layered it over top of his elbow and hit the hidden blade to Kojima with the aluminum pan on his elbow, which was cool. And then hit the Stormbreaker to get the win. So, Ospreay bounces back with a good match. He's on his way to getting back on track. I think the loss of Wrestle Kingdom did harm him a bit. But, as I said, coming out of Wrestle Kingdom, he should not be losing any matches going forward. Now, I can't say if he lost any matches in this New Beginning tour, because I ain't gonna lie, I didn't watch many matches from this New Beginning tour. But what I can tell you is that Ospreay's winning when it counts, and that's what matters most going into New Japan Cup next month. Now, I did predict that Ospreay is more likely to win, has a good chance of winning the New Japan Cup. And I'll stick to that. I think that Will Ospreay more likely will win New Japan Cup this year, especially with the way he's heading. I think it's definitely on that track. But we get into the main event of the evening: Shingo Takagi versus Hiroshi Tanahashi for the Never Openweight Championship. This was a glorious match. Now, I don't think it's one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. People were talking about this match like it was the holy grail of 2021. I'm like, I know 2021 just started, and saying it's the greatest match of the year is literally very easy to do. But let's calm down here. This wasn't the best Shingo match I've seen. This wasn't the best Tanahashi match I've seen. But it was definitely a damn great match. I do have my one nitpick about this match, being that it was 35 minutes. I think that, yes, I understand that Shingo Takagi and Tanahashi against each other, two clash of styles. We saw a little bit of a mix of both styles in here. Mostly Tanahashi. I could definitely tell that Tanahashi took a lot of this match and took a lot of the... I try not to go too insider knowledge with this shit. But I could tell that Tanahashi probably had a lot of the input and direction about how this match went, because if this is a Shingo-paced match, it would have been a lot more hard-hitting than it was. And that's not to say it wasn't hard-hitting or anything, but it was definitely that slower pace New Japan epic build in the very beginning. Tanahashi's working over Shingo's legs, which is very hypocritical of Tanahashi, who has them weak ass jello knees, but working over the legs of Tanahashi and dealing in the elbows and working over the body parts, and Shingo's trying to make a comeback with Tanahashi, puts him down. What you expect, once again, Tanahashi to be worked over, but no, it was Shingo getting worked over, which made for an odd, sympathetic type of feel for Shingo. So once you got into that middle half of the match where Shingo starts coming back and Tanahashi would shut him down, it was kind of odd, but it worked. And then you get into like that 20-25 minute part where you got the Shingo, the Shingo Never style match you'd expect, where Shingo's dealing in the elbows, Tanahashi's doing the back, and then the layers are coming in, and Tanahashi's starting to no-sell, and Shingo's doing the, it was great, man. It was everything you want to see in this match. You saw, I don't want to spoil it for too many of you guys. I'm trying to stray away from, going blow by blow, and I think I've been doing a good job of that lately. But what I can say is that the finish came when Tanahashi hit his sling blade, hit a high fly flow onto a standing Shingo Takagi, hit a high fly flow to the back of Shingo, then another high fly flow onto the stomach of Shingo, and got the pin to become the new Never Open Weight Champion. I said going into this match, no matter who wins, I'm happy. If Shingo wins, great. He beat Tanahashi. That's a good endorsement for him. Not that I think he really needs it because it's Shingo. But beating Tanahashi is a great feat. It's a great feat to say. If Tanahashi wins, it's almost reminiscent of John Cena holding a U.S. championship in 2015. I don't expect Tanahashi to be defending the title every goddamn week because it's not going to happen. But it's going to be a cool sight to see, and I think that we could get some good Tanahashi defenses out of it. And I still stick by that. Up until the finish. Up until the end of the match. Because at the end of the match, who were to come out and lay out Tanahashi but the Great Okan? The Great Okan comes out, hits Eliminator on a Tanahashi, and poses with the Never Open Weight Championship. And that's how we end off with the show. And it's odd because the Great Okan was the same person who lost to Tanahashi at Wrestle Kingdom. So exactly how are you warranted for a championship match against the person you lost to not even a full month ago? That I don't understand. Yes, I understand he beat Tenzan, but you lost to Tanahashi. You didn't even beat Tanahashi in this tour. So how are you warranted for a championship match? Exactly. I don't remember you even beating Shingo. So once again, where is this championship match coming from? I don't know. It's definitely one of those Stardom things where you could just come out, challenge the champion, and then boom, you have a championship match. That's just how Stardom does the booking. So we can see how Bushiroad's having an influence in here. But my thoughts on the whole Okan-Tanahashi feud continuing. I mean, if this is to get the championship onto Tenzan, why am I saying Tenzan? If this is a way to get the championship onto Okan, okay. I think that it's kind of odd to have Tanahashi be a transitional champion. This is a perfect opportunity for them to uplift the championship. And I'm not saying that the Never Championship is down in the derps or in the mud, or it's a buried concept or anything, because Shingo, I thought, was a great champion. I think that, the whole passing of the championships between Shingo and Suzuki and, Ishii and, Goto, I'm fine with the crop of guys in the Never division. They're all great. I think that Tanahashi can implement a different style we're not used to seeing in that division, and it could make for some interesting matches going forward. Imagine Tanahashi taking that championship and getting guys in there like a Sonata, like an Evil, probably not Evil, but like a Sonata, like, a Will Ospreay, which we've seen a champion before. But you get what I mean. Getting Tanahashi to get guys we normally don't see in that picture into that picture. That would be interesting. It would be something different. It would be something fresh. It would be something new. However, if the idea is we don't want Okan to beat Shingo, who haven't beat Tanahashi, all right, I think you should have done that at Wrestle Kingdom. But here's how I see it. You could have had Okan beat Tanahashi at Wrestle Kingdom. Then you could have had him challenge Shingo at this show and beat Shingo. There's nothing wrong with Shingo losing to Okan if the idea is to make Okan this next, killer heel. If that was the idea, cool. You should have just had him beat Tanahashi Wrestle Kingdom. But this is the way we're going about it. If Okan loses again to Tanahashi, then I don't know what the point of this was. So I think the only way for this to make sense is for the Great Okan to beat Tanahashi. So yes, I do think that ultimately this does mean that Tanahashi will be a transitional champion. But that's how New Japan wants to do their booking. We'll be in for the ride, I guess. But that was New Beginning in Nagoya. I thought it was a decent show. You know what? I'll take it back. I'll say it was a good show, but it was a 2-match show. I think if you missed the first 3 matches, you didn't miss anything. But I would recommend the main event, and I would say if you're down for a fun match, unlike the Will Ospreay matches you're used to seeing with all the flippy shit and all that kind of stuff, then you may actually enjoy Will Ospreay versus Satoshi Kojima. So, that being said, let's also talk about Jon Moxley. He made his appearance for the first time since Wrestle Kingdom on NJPW Strong Television. And even then, I can't even say that was on NJPW Strong. It was just an appearance on New Japan Television at Wrestle Kingdom. But it was on the latest episode of NJPW Strong in a 6-man tag team match that saw Leo Rush, TJP, and Fred Rosser defeat Bullet Club, actually. Leo Rush actually pinned El Fantasmo. They beat down the other team. And who was to show up? The lights go out. And I instantly think, oh shit, it's Cody Rhodes. But obviously it wasn't Cody Rhodes because he ain't appearing on New Japan Television. He's too big for that. It was Jon Moxley with the IWGP US Championship in hand, eyeing down Kenta. Hikuleo and ELPP charge at him, but he knocks them both out with the championship, and it's now just him and Kenta staring each other down. And he start elbowing each other, and Kenta tries to get him up for the GTS, but he gets out of it and hits him with a Death Rider. I believe it's a Death Rider in Japan. A Death Rider, and he stands tall with the US Championship, and he said something along the lines of, I'll take you on any day, anywhere, in sometime. No, he said, sometime in Tokyo, I'll challenge you. Sometime in Tokyo, however we do it, we'll get it done. And I was pissed when this happened, because I'm like, you mean to tell me that Jon Moxley showed up on NJPW Strong, which, mind you, for months, many people didn't think this would ever happen because we all thought the working relationship between New Japan and AEW was non-existent. Now, I'll talk about that in a second. We thought that relationship was non-existent, so why would they have Jon Moxley appear on NJPW Strong? After all, this takes place in North America. You don't want Jon Moxley appearing on another North American promotion, so obviously that's never going to happen. We'll get Jon Moxley back in Japan when COVID's finally over, whenever the hell that's going to be. But now he shows up on NJPW Strong, he lays out Kenta, and he says, I'll see you in Tokyo. And it's like, alright, so we wasted a Jon Moxley appearance on NJPW Strong to build up to a match that may never come for another few months. So I was pissed, but then I looked kind of like, alright, take it back. Because then about a day later, it was announced on Twitter, NJPW's Twitter, that they'll be having their upcoming New Beginning USA tour. That'll see some matches like Leo Rush versus ELP and Ray Oris versus TJP. But main eventing, headlining that tour on February the 26th will be Jon Moxley versus Kenta for the IWGP US Heavyweight Championship. So, for the first time since February 2nd of last year, a full calendar year, this is going to be more than a full calendar year, Jon Moxley will be defending his championship. Jon Moxley's been champion for well over a year now. And he is finally getting his second defense in. Well, third defense, technically. In on Kenta. After 6 defenses from Kenta across his briefcase holding, he's finally getting the championship match on NJPW Strong. Well, what I can say, I want to really badly give New Japan their props for booking this match, but here's what I'm going to say about this. If it took this long for us to get this match, a year to get this match, I understand COVID, I understand what the hell is going on, but it shouldn't have taken this long. I don't care if I sound ungrateful. It should not have taken this long for us to get this match. We should have gotten this sooner, and if we couldn't have got it sooner, Jon Moxley should have been stripped. We could have easily had Jon Moxley get stripped months ago, Kenta win the championship somehow, some way, and then we have the same scenario happen, but this time Kenta's the champion and Jon Moxley is gunning back for the championship that he never lost. We could have done the same story, but this time with more meaning, more purpose. Jon Moxley has a purpose to get the championship because he never lost it. He was stripped of it for a second time. There's a actual story there. What's the story here? Kenta's finally getting a championship match that he deserves after months? Yeah, it's a story, but it's not a good one. I don't think it's a good one. What, we had to wait several fucking months, a whole year, to actually get a Jon Moxley championship defense? You think that makes the championship mean more? No, it makes it mean less. So yeah, I want to give them credit, but I honestly can't. It took them way too long to get to this point. And here's what I will say about this. Yes, I am happy we're getting this match. But I am only, and I mean only, will be satisfied with the outcome if this means that Kenta is going to be defeating Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley should not be beating Kenta. Jon Moxley has been an inactive champion for well over a year. New Japan has given him a pass because of COVID, and I understand that. COVID is still a thing. And now you have an opportunity to use Jon Moxley on your television some way through NJPW Strong. Now, we still don't know if this is a confirmation of a working relationship. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that maybe Jon Moxley convinced Tony Khan to actually wrestle on this show to get this championship match in. That's what I'm going to guess is what's happening here. And we can actually get this match to go. Jon Moxley should not be beating Kenta. I don't care who you have lined up for him. I don't care if this means that Jon Moxley can actually fly to Japan and wrestle. I don't care what happens. Kenta should be winning this match. Kenta held on to that briefcase. He defended it 6 times. He earned the right to be the champion. We, as fans, deserve the right to have an active champion on New Japan Pro Wrestling television. So yes, while Jon Moxley may bring in viewers for New Japan, if he can't be on New Japan Pro, and I'm not talking about NJPW Strong, I ain't talking about promos, I ain't talking about via satellite, nothing. If he can't be on New Japan Pro Wrestling soil in Japan, he shouldn't be the champion. So get the title off him on February 26th, and if he wants his rematch, he get his rematch when he's able to come back to Japan. Until then, Jon Moxley can fuck off back to AEW. That's how I think about it right now. I love Jon Moxley. I love Jon Moxley in AEW. But I'll stick to my idea that Jon Moxley should not have been champion this damn long. That's all I'm going to say about that. We'll touch back on New Japan in a bit, but let's now get into the Royal Rumble, which just took place this Sunday. A lot of you know I'm a huge mark for the Royal Rumble. Every single year, no matter how bad this company gets, I will always tune in for the Rumble. And I watched the show. I did a live reaction of it. Didn't do a review of it because I wanted to wait until this podcast to talk about it. So, let's talk about it. On the pre-show of the Rumble, we had Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Asuka and Charlotte Flair for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. The match was okay. I mean, it was Asuka and Charlotte. They're all really good. Shayna Baszler is really good as well. Then Nia Jax is Nia Jax. They all had their things in here. I can't tell you exactly what happened because it's a blank, honestly. The match is a blank. What I can tell you is that we saw Lacey Evans and Ric Flair make their way down to the ring to interfere. They didn't really interfere at first. They were just distracting Charlotte Flair. Charlotte, at this time, she was just like trying to ignore it, whatever. But then Lacey Evans made her way down to the ring, down to where Charlotte Flair was having a figure eight lockdown on Shayna Baszler, and she kind of just swipes her away, and she forces Charlotte to break the pin. Charlotte gets kind of pissed, elbows her down. She gets back into the ring, tries to go after Shayna Baszler again. She tries for it one more time. Lacey Evans, referee, red shoes effect is really coming into WWE here. Lacey Evans gets something in her hand from Ric Flair. Ric Flair apparently hates Charlotte Flair now for some reason. And punches her right in the face, does her woman's right to the face of Charlotte Flair, knocks her out. Nia Jax gets into the ring, hits the atomic leg drop onto Charlotte Flair, pins her, and is now the new women's tag team champions. Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, 2-time champions. I've been watching Raw the last 2 weeks, more or less because you guys have been wanting me to watch Raw, and you guys have been tuning in for the shows. If you guys tune in, I'll fucking watch it. You guys been tuning into the live streams. You guys been pulling up a lot lately. I appreciate that very much because this show is a chore to sit through. It's not going to be every week, trust me. I will be watching it next week because more than likely I may probably, I don't know, hopefully I don't have COVID and I can watch it. Well, can't watch it, let me just say that. But if I can't watch it, then if you guys still want to see it, then I'll watch it. That's how I'm looking at it right now. If you guys want to see it, I'll watch it because I enjoy streaming. But what I can't say is the last 2 Raws I've watched, I've seen Charlotte Flair distracted by Lacey Evans. This is literally like the same finish, the same concept, the same exact finish for every Charlotte match I've seen in the last 3 weeks. Can they not think of anything new aside from Ric Flair comes out with Lacey Evans' robe? It's literally the same thing. But this company is void of any creative ideas, so I expect nothing less. Nothing more, nothing less. Outside the pre-show, and I'm pretty certain we were supposed to get Bobby Lashley versus Matt Riddle on this show, but it got cut, so we got straight into the main show. We opened up with the WWE Championship match. Drew McIntyre defending against Goldberg. I ain't gonna lie, when I heard this match was starting off the show, I got scared. Because my initial thought was, Goldberg is gonna win this match so that way the fans can boo and hiss and be all pissy until the main event where they're gonna have somebody good you like win. That was my thinking. They were going to fuck us over in the beginning just to wine and dine us in the end. The backwards effect. They didn't wine and dine us to get fucked over. They were going to fuck us over first. But luckily, we didn't get it that. There were some points in here where I got scared. The very beginning of the match, Drew McIntyre takes out Goldberg, but unsuccessfully because Goldberg spears him through the barricade. And then the bell rings and Goldberg charges at him and they have their 2-minute skirmish, which is every Goldberg match. I can literally map this out for you without even watching it again. Let me guess. It went spear, kick out, spear again, spear attempt miss, claymore, kick out, hits the jackhammer, better jackhammer than the one he had on the Fiend, which scared the... This was the closest 2 count in the history of 2 counts. When Goldberg got him up for the jackhammer and came down for the pin, and the referee counted 2, his hands started coming down to the mat, I said, oh my God, this company did it again. But Drew McIntyre at 2.9999999 kicks out. And a sigh of relief went over my head. The match went for another probably like 20 seconds. Goldberg tries for another spear, but he misses, slamming his head right into the ring post. Drew McIntyre scouts him, hits him with a claymore, and gets the pin. Drew McIntyre retaining the WWE Championship as it should have been. After the match, Goldberg raises his hand, endorses him, and I'm like, you know what? I can't hate on this at all because Goldberg came in here, he lost to Drew, and then he raised his hand and endorsed Drew. This is how you build stars. WWE is capable of building stars, they just choose fucking not to. This is how you do it. Having part-timers, having older generation of stars come in here and lose to your top guys. Lose the guys that you want to get over. This is how you build stars. WWE should learn to do this with the other wrestlers that you actually want to get over. But for some reason, it's impossible for them to do this with other talent. It's only to guys like Drew and Roman. Which I don't have a problem with, but do this with other guys instead of bringing part-timers back to get wins. But I'll talk about that a bit later. After this, we got into the SmackDown Women's Championship match. Sasha Banks versus Carmella. This is another okay match. Sasha Banks and Carmella, they have okay chemistry. A lot of people were saying this is Carmella's like one of her best performances, which if that was her best performance, then I don't know what this is about her. Like, I can't think of a great Carmella match. when she was in NXT, I couldn't think of a great Carmella match. When she was on SmackDown, I couldn't think of a great Carmella match. When she went to Raw, I didn't see a great Carmella match. Now, mind you, I didn't watch Raw or SmackDown. But here, I didn't think she did that well either. Sasha Banks on the bank statement to retain the championship, so that was the plus. Sasha Banks is retaining championship. She's actually getting wins under her belt as a champion, so that is good to see. Then we get into the Women's Royal Rumble match. So, let me go through the entrance here. First started off with Bayley and Naomi. Bayley and Naomi, they made it pretty far. I'm actually shocked that Naomi made it as far as she did. But after Naomi, number 3 was Bianca Belair. Number 4 was Billie Kay. Billie Kay had some nice spots in here. Shotzi Blackheart, number 5. Number 6 was Shayna Baszler. Number 7 was Toni Storm. Number 8 was Jillian Hall. You know you want me. You can take your eyes away from me. Yeah, the former Divas champion, Jillian Hall. The pop culture icon herself, Jillian Hall. Which I ain't gonna lie, until this very moment, I did not even think about I forgot about Jillian. I ain't gonna lie. I forgot about Jillian Hall. I was wondering, like, what rock did y'all find Jillian Hall under? I knew, like, years ago she was having issues with, like, I don't know, drugs or something. She looked in bad shape years ago. But I kind of wrote her off. And I forgot all about her up until this point. She came out, Billie Kay, she was in stan mode. She walked up to her like she was her biggest fan. And then we got the pairing of Billie and Jilly. And I ain't gonna lie, I was riding for it. Because Billie Kay, from what I heard, she's been a very, very, very entertaining part of SmackDown each and every single week. So, I'm here for Billie and Jilly. We got that for a little bit. Ruby Riott came out number 9. Number 10 was none other than Victoria, who came out to her old theme song, I Ain't the Lady to Mess With. And she came out with the fast version, which I never was a big fan of the fast version. I always liked the slower version. But it was awesome to see Victoria, because Victoria for the longest time seemed like she was just slighted by WWE. They never invited her to any of the Raw reunions, none of the Raws, 15th, 20th, 25th, you name it. None of the SmackDowns. She was never invited to any fucking thing. It's like, you would think this woman was blacklisted from WWE, and we never knew why. But she showed up. She came in here. She did all her spots. She did a weak-looking Widow's Peak, but a Widow's Peak nonetheless. And it was fun to see her. Peyton Royce, number 11. Santana Garrett, number 12. I ain't gonna lie, I forgot all about Santana Garrett, too. But she's apparently part of NXT now. Good for her. Liv Morgan, number 13, who was dressed as Christina Aguilera. I am beautiful. I'm going to stop. Let me stop before Def Jam Records comes in here and tries to sign me. But we saw I Am Beautiful, Liv Morgan. We saw number 14 was Rhea Ripley. Came in here. She was a wrecking house. She had 7 eliminations under her belt. Talk about that in a bit. Number 15 was Charlotte Flair, which, if I'm correct, Charlotte Flair was number 15 in last year's Rumble too, but talk about that in a bit too. Number 16 was Dana Brooke. Number 17 was Tori Wilson, who each time I see her looks more beautiful than the last. Number 18, we had Lacey Evans. Number 19, we had Mickie James. I love Mickie James. I love her to death. She's one of my, she's not one of my, she is my all-time favorite women's wrestler, if you guys didn't know that, fun fact. Number 20, we had Nikki Cross, who Nikki Cross debuted possibly one of the worst theme songs I ever heard in my entire life. My ears almost wanted to commit suicide hearing this theme song. Oh my god. Number 21, we had Alicia Fox, as Noam Dar used to say. She came out. R-Truth came. I thought for a second R-Truth entered himself in the Women's Rumble match. I honestly got hyped. I'm like, yes, R-Truth is gonna come in here, start doing some bop, bop, bop to all the women in this match, start eliminating people, win the women's. Yo, if R-Truth ever won a women's match, I wouldn't be like, R-Truth is the only person I would ever want to see win a women's match, just because. So I got hyped, but it was only for this 24/7 championship bullshit. Alicia Fox rode him up, became the new 24/7 champion. Only for, I saw Drew Gulak in here. I saw Humberto Carrillo in here. I feel so terrible for these guys. Humberto Carrillo, last year, they were trying to do something with him. What happened? What happened? I know they wanted to do something with Humberto Carrillo, and then they just stopped. And now he's chasing down fucking Alicia Fox for the 24/7 championship. Drew Gulak? Drew Gulak? The same Drew Gulak I saw in the pre-show of Elimination Chamber wrestling one of the best matches of the year with Daniel Bryan is in the 24/7 championship chase? This is what we're doing with these talented wrestlers? Of course, it's WWE. But we got that. 22 was Mandy Rose. 23, we had Dakota Kai, who didn't last very long in the match. Number 24 was Carmella, who also didn't last very long. Number 25 was Tamina. Number 26 was Lana, who was in here to have her spot where she eliminated Nia Jax, so that was a feel-good moment. Number 27 was Alexa Bliss, who a lot of people pegged to win this match, which was funny because she came in here. She had her moment where she was about to turn into the Fiend, but she was dumped out by Rhea Ripley within 1 minute. That was kind of funny, not gonna lie. Number 28, we had Ember Moon. Number 29, Nia Jax, who was eliminated by Lana. And then number 30, which was spoiled on WWE Backstage, was Natalya. The final four did come down to Natalya, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley. I believe that Bianca eliminated Natalya. Then it came down to Charlotte, Bianca, and Rhea, which I ain't gonna lie, marked out for. Because if you guys remember, this time last year, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley were feuding for the NXT Women's Championship. Then Charlotte Flair's ass came into NXT and fucked everything I loved about NXT up. But I digress. Charlotte, Rhea, Bianca had their exchange. It led to Bianca and Rhea Ripley teaming up, joining forces as Team NXT to eliminate the evil that was Charlotte Flair from the match. Then they battled it out. We had this one spot in here, which I'm going to have to talk about. I didn't want to talk about it. I was trying to ignore it, trying to act like I didn't see it because I wanted Bianca to be the winner so badly, but I got to talk about it. So somebody screenshotted this moment. Now, it was the exact spot where Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley were on the outside of the ring. They had their arms on the top rope, you know, Skinny and the Cat, Shawn Michaels spot, whatever. They are both in that same position, kicking each other, dangling their feet, dangerously dangling their feet. And one fan screenshotted this at the right moment, where Bianca Belair looked to have had both of her feet touching the floor. Now, commentators didn't say anything. I'm sure they probably didn't see it like I didn't see it the first time either. The announcers didn't say anything. WWE didn't say anything about it. But fans were like, this is an outrage. This is a conspiracy. Bianca Belair, she should be eliminated. Rhea Ripley for the champion winner. A winner of the Rumble, Rhea Ripley. Of course, during Black History Month, they wanted to announce the black winner, but you know. Bianca Belair did end up winning this match by eliminating Rhea Ripley. She won for the number 3 spot. I was on cloud 9. Bianca Belair deserved and earned this right to be in the spot at WrestleMania against either Asuka or Sasha Banks. And I believe it should be Sasha Banks. Now, you guys know my favorite at the moment is Asuka. But there is a whole ready-made proposition, a whole ready-made history-making moment to have 2 black women wrestling for a women's championship at WrestleMania. So I think it is only right for us to get Bianca versus Sasha. I don't want to see Bianca and Sasha and Rhea. I don't want to see Bianca, Sasha, and Charlotte. I don't want to see Bianca and Asuka. I want to see Bianca and Sasha. Now, getting back into the spot where Bianca's foot may have touched the floor. SmackDown is this Friday. Could we possibly see something like Rhea come out and say that your feet touched the floor, I won the Rumble? I think if they wanted to play off of it, they could. If they want to ignore it, they could too. I don't mind them ignoring it. But if they want to play up that, they could get a match out of Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair at Fastlane or Elimination Chamber. Have Bianca put her spot on the line and have her beat Rhea Ripley. Because after all, February last year, we did the same match and Rhea Ripley beat Bianca. So I think it's only fair that, you know, what comes around comes back around for Bianca. She gets her win back. So I'm in favor of that. But at the same time, if they don't touch up on it, I ain't mad at it either. But Bianca wins the match. I am happy about that. Coming out of that, we get into the Universal Championship match, Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. I thought this was a really good match. I enjoyed this a lot. It was... I'm trying to think. Did I like this more than I like Satoshi Kojima and Will Ospreay? I think I did. I think I liked this slightly more than Kojima and Ospreay. It was chaotic. They battled outside of the ring. They went backstage. They went on top of the Thunderdome. Not all the way to the top, but they went midway to the top of the Thunderdome. Kevin Owens went through tables. No, Roman Reigns went through tables. Here's the thing about this match that kind of bugged me is that Roman Reigns was having his limb targeted. Like, Roman Reigns was having his leg targeted throughout this match. That was the story. Can Roman Reigns will through all the leg damage, all the spots he was taking? And he was. They went backstage, and in one of the best spots of the entire night, Kevin Owens was looking for Roman Reigns. There was a ring set up backstage for some reason, probably the practice ring for the Rumble rehearsal. And out of nowhere, Roman Reigns comes crashing into Kevin Owens with a golf cart. Now, I know everybody was on Twitter like, WWE's copying off of AEW. And you know what? To be fair to WWE, WWE did it first at WrestleMania 17 with Kane, Al Snow, and Big Show. To be fair, that spot was done by WWE first. However, AEW recently did it. So if you wanted to say they copied off AEW, you could say it. I didn't look at it that way. I wasn't pissy because, oh my God, they stole a spot from Sammy Guevara and Matt Hardy. Like, I wasn't like that. I didn't care too much about it. AEW takes shot at WWE literally every week. Every chance they get, they take a shot at this company. So WWE taking a shot at them, I don't mind it. I literally don't mind it because AEW does it all the fucking time. So I'm like, whatever. Whatever. Anyway, I thought the spot was cool, especially because it looked better than the... Okay, here's how I see it. The AEW spot with Sammy Guevara getting ran over by Matt Hardy, it was funny. This spot, like, Kevin Owens went through the goddamn golf cart. Like, he went through it. That was more brutal. So, it depends on which one you fall on the spectrum of. Do you like the brutality of Owens and Roman, or do you like the funny aspect of Sammy and Matt Hardy? Either way, I like both spots. After that, Kevin Owens found a way somehow to get up to his feet and get Roman Reigns onto tables. And he hits a swanton bomb off a forklift onto Roman Reigns. But that didn't put him down either. They made their way to the ramp, right near the ramp at least, right near this steel guardrail. And Kevin Owens gets a handcuffs, the same handcuffs that Sami Zayn used onto Jeff Hardy to put his ear through it. I don't know that for sure, but I'm just throwing shit out there. He takes the handcuffs and handcuffs Roman Reigns' hand to the guardrail. Now, mind you, Roman Reigns is laying on the ground, and he handcuffs it to the guardrail, so now Roman Reigns can't get up. So now I'm thinking Roman Reigns is about to lose this championship match to Kevin Owens from a heel spot, which is interesting, to say the least. But Roman Reigns is struggling. He can't get up to his feet. Referee's at 9. And in one of the best spots I think I've seen from Roman Reigns, he pulls the referee inwards and sends him straight into this lights guardrail and knocks the referee out before the count of 10. Just beautiful heel work by Roman Reigns there. Kevin Owens comes to pull him in. Roman Reigns low blows him, punches him right in the dick. Paul Heyman comes through, unhooks Roman Reigns' cuffs. He locks him in a guillotine choke, chokes Owens out. The referee counts to 10, and Roman Reigns is now still your Universal Champion. As much as I like the match, I hated that finish so damn much. You mean to tell me after the forklift spot, after the golf cart spot, after all the table spots, after all you did, the guillotine choke was the finish for the match? That brought it down for me. But you take the finish out, I thought it was a really fun match. From here, we get right into the men's Royal Rumble match. Now, it was confirmed on WWE Backstage that number 1 and number 2 were going to be Edge and Randy Orton. It was Edge at number 1 and Randy Orton at number 2. So we already knew this was the story going into it. The story was Edge and Orton. Number 3 was Sami Zayn. Number 4, Mustafa Ali. No. Bring it back. Mustafa Ali. Number 5 was Jeff Hardy. We got Edge and Hardy in the ring for a minute. That was cool. Number 6 was Dolph Ziggler. Number 7 was Shinsuke Nakamura. Number 8 was the return of Carlito, which I marked out for. I popped really big for. It was cool to see him. He was in great shape. I think Carlito's in better shape than he was in his 20s, which is insane to think about. At this point in time, Randy Orton got taken out of the match by Edge, targeting his knee. He did a execution onto Randy Orton onto an announce table that took Orton out of the match. Edge got back into the ring. Xavier Woods came in number 9, Big E number 10, John Morrison number 11, Ricochet number 12, Elias number 13. Elias did end up eliminating Carlito, which I hated. Number 14 was the NXT debut of Damian Priest, who was the only NXT wrestler in this match. So, big spot for Damian Priest. He eliminated 4 guys. So, Damian Priest is getting a little bit of a pushy push here. So, good for him. The Miz, number 15. Matt Riddle came in, number 16. Matt Riddle actually made it further than I expected him to. So, that was cool as well. Daniel Bryan came in, number 17. He, in fact, did not win the Rumble match to the dismay of many fans. Not me. I honestly was not on this bandwagon of damn, Bryan needs to win the Rumble match. Like, fans were trying to recreate the 2014 Rumble on Twitter about this whole thing. All I can say to you guys is Daniel Bryan is 39 years old. His time is come and gone. I'm not saying that I wouldn't be upset if Daniel Bryan never won the WWE Championship again, but the Daniel Bryan Yes-Mania era is over. It's done. And that was 5 years ago. If Daniel Bryan never gets a top level run again, I'm not upset about it. Kane came in at number 18. Cool to see Kane in the match. His 17th Rumble appearance. King Corbin, number 19. Otis, number 20. Dominic Mysterio, number 21. Only lasted 2 minutes, so waste of a spot. Bobby Lashley, number 22. Hurricane Helms got my number 23. Pissed me the hell off. Number 24 was none other than one more match himself, Christian. I lost my shit because of all the people in the world to bring in for the Rumble. I would have never guessed it would have been Christian. So yes, we did get the reunion of Edge and Christian. The little boy in me cried when I saw these two hug it out. It was so crazy. It was so awesome. Number 25 was AJ Styles. Number 26, Rey Mysterio. Number 27, Sheamus. Number 28, Cesaro. Number 29, Seth Rollins, making his return back from, pregnancy. Of course, Seth Rollins is the one who's pregnant because Becky can't get pregnant. She's a man, of course. And then number 30 was Braun Strowman. The final 4 came down to Edge, Christian, Seth Rollins, and Braun Strowman. Christian made it way further than I thought he was. And Edge and Christian on one side, Strowman and Seth Rollins on the other side. It was brought up in the chat, which I honestly forgot all about. But Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman at one point in time were Raw Tag Team Champions. I think it was after Nicholas and Braun Strowman were Tag Team Champions. We still need to see the return of Nicholas at one point in time. Or, as I said on stream, I would rather see Nicholas ditch WWE, go to AEW, and face -1 on AEW Dark. If we get that, I'll tune into AEW Dark. Promise you that. Anyway, we saw these two team up against each other. Edge and Christian tried their best, but it was Braun Strowman who tried to power slam Christian outside the ring. He tried to power slam Edge outside the ring. Christian tried to throw Strowman over top of the rope. But Seth Rollins came through, hoisted Christian over the rope, eliminating both him and Braun Strowman in the process, leaving the final 2 seemingly to come down to Seth Rollins and Edge. Rollins went for a curb stomp, but Christian... Why do I keep mixing up these names? Rollins gets thrown over the top rope by Edge and eliminated. And many thought for a second it was Edge who was the Rumble winner. But no, out of nowhere, Randy Orton comes in the ring, still legally in the match. RKO's Edge. We think at least I think for a hot second, oh my god, Randy Orton's going to be a 3-time Rumble winner. I'm going to be so angry at this company. He gets him up, goes to throw him over the top rope. Edge sidesteps him and eliminates Randy Orton. So Edge no-sold the RKO basically and eliminates Orton. I ain't gonna lie, I didn't like the finish of that match, but Edge is the winner of the 2021 Royal Rumble. I did a whole video on Edge and why I didn't like this, I'm gonna dub it in right here. Let me just say that I love Edge. I grew up on Edge like many of you did. I consider him one of the greatest of all time. I think he's great on the mic. I think he's great in the ring. And I popped very huge for him last year when he entered in the Royal Rumble match at number 21 and made that Roar's comeback. And I was there. I was happy, man, just as much as you guys were. And 1 year later, he's in the 2021 Royal Rumble match and he won. Spoiler alert, Edge won the men's Royal Rumble match for 2021. He came in at the number 1 spot and won the whole thing. And you think, as an Edge fan, I should be happy about that. I mean, you like Edge, don't you? Why wouldn't you be happy about that? Well, after the moment ended, after Edge actually won the Rumble, I really sat myself and I said, how hypocritical would it be for me to come on here and talk shit about Goldberg being in this spot, being a part-timer, being in his 50s, and coming into WWE and basically getting handed all these shots because he's a big name from the Ruthless Aggression era? How hypocritical of me to come on here and talk and rant about part-timers always getting spots over the top guys, over mid-carders, over guys who are there each and every single week. How hypocritical of me to come on here and say all of that for practically years about WWE, but then to turn around and act like there's nothing wrong with Edge winning the Royal Rumble in 2021. I can't be a hypocrite. I see a lot of fans online are perfectly fine with this, but I have to call it like it is. I think it is complete hypocrisy on the fans, and I'll be the first to say it. I don't think Edge should have won the Royal Rumble. I don't think he should have, especially from the number 1 spot. Let me break this down for you guys real quick. I mean, I think there's a few things wrong with this match. I mean, let me first off by saying I thought the Women's Rumble match was way better. I thought by a mile the Women's Rumble match was much more superior than this one. And then that's not because Edge won. I thought structurally the women's match is way better than the men's. So let's start off from the top. Edge was announced for the Royal Rumble match last Monday Night Raw. So he wasn't a surprise. We expected him to be in it. You come all the way to Saturday on WWE Backstage, and it's announced that Edge and Randy Orton will be drawing number 1 and number 2 in the Royal Rumble match. Okay, cool. You know, that's going to be a way to end their feud off. Doesn't have to be a singles match, but we can end their feud off with them being number 1, number 2. Edge eliminates Randy Orton at some point in the match, and boom, there we go. We set them up. Edge throws Randy Orton out. It could be vice versa. Fiend comes out, eliminates Randy Orton. Edge eliminates Orton, and then someone eliminates Edge. Something along the lines happens like that. Well, we get that. Edge and Orton battle it out for most of the match until Edge takes Orton out of the match. With a knee injury or whatnot. Randy Orton literally sits out for 85% of this match. Randy Orton sits out. But then, Edge, while he was number 1 in the match and made it to the end, let's be honest here, Edge didn't do shit for most of this match. I mean, can you recall any spots featuring Edge outside of Christian and Orton? Did Edge do anything? I see he has 3 eliminations, but I can't tell you who he eliminated in this match, honestly, aside from Randy Orton. So the pop is ruined with them announcing Edge, then the spot he's in is ruined. Now he's not doing much in the Rumble outside of eliminating like 1 or 2 guys. He's spending most of the match on the floor. And it's like, alright, yay, awesome. He's gonna get the story is, I understand the story. I'm not an idiot. Edge had to retire because he couldn't go anymore. He had neck contusions. He had neck issues. He was forced to retire. He was forced to relinquish the World Heavyweight Championship over 10 years ago. Now, he's back on the road to get back the title he never lost. Even though the World Heavyweight Championship doesn't exist anymore, he's back to get the championship he never lost. That's a great story. If Edge would have returned 5 years ago. It's been 11 years. Almost. Edge is, what? 46? Edge is 47 years old. He's nearing 50. So, I need you guys to explain to me here. Everyone talks about how they're tired of seeing Goldberg, and they're tired of seeing The Undertaker, and people go to AEW, oh, I'm tired of seeing Chris Jericho, well, I'm tired of seeing these old timers. But then Edge comes in, and that's fine. I think you guys are just riding the nostalgia train a bit too hard here, and just making excuses for reasons why it's fine with Edge, but not okay with everybody else. I'm not saying Edge is bad, I'm not saying the story doesn't make sense. It does make sense. And I feel like you could have done that story without Edge winning the Rumble. Edge easily could have lost this match and challenged Drew or Roman through other means. But by Edge winning this match, no new stars are created. Can you think of any new stars we created with Edge winning this match? Because I didn't. Of the 34 Royal Rumble matches that we've had, 17 of them have been repeat guys. 7 people have been 2-time, or even in Stone Cold's case, 3-time Rumble winners. Edge didn't have to be one of them, in my opinion. You could list a number of people who could have won this match. I'm not here to tell you who I think should have won the match. I just don't see why Edge needed to win. Especially because now that Edge has won, it only makes sense for him to main event WrestleMania. So now, once again, we're putting a part-timer in the top position of the company, which is hypocritical of you not to think that it is. And before you say, but Edge isn't a part-timer, let's look at Edge's track record, shall we? Edge returned at the 2020 Royal Rumble. Edge had a match with Randy Orton at WrestleMania 36. In a time period of January 2020 to April 2020, do you want to know how many matches Edge had? 0. From Royal Rumble to WrestleMania, Edge didn't wrestle anybody except for Randy Orton. His third match was against Randy Orton again at Backlash. So from April, from WrestleMania, to what, June, maybe? 2020? Do you want to know how many people Edge wrestled? 0. Edge didn't wrestle anybody outside of Randy Orton in the Rumble match from January to June. So for 6 months, you're going to sit here and tell me that Edge is not a part-timer? I'm sorry, but I'm sure part-timers are on TV every week. Wrestling, yes, Edge was on TV every week, but so is every other part-timer you've seen. Undertaker appeared on TV a lot of times when he was a part-timer. So is John Cena. So is Goldberg. That doesn't make you a part-timer because you come out and you cut promos. Edge is a part-timer. Now, does this exactly mean that Edge won't wrestle any matches until WrestleMania 37? Not necessarily. I can't predict the future. Edge may very well wrestle tomorrow night on Raw. I don't doubt it, but at the same time, I also am not doubting the fact that he probably won't wrestle any matches until he gets to WrestleMania. I'll be shocked if Edge wrestles until WrestleMania again. We saw the return of Christian tonight. We could honestly see Edge and Christian do tag team matches. But what's the likelihood of that? Exactly. So let's just say Edge follows the pattern. He doesn't wrestle from January until April when he goes to wrestle either Roman Reigns or Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. So now we're going to have Edge, who has wrestled 4 matches in the last year. I understand he's been injured for most of it, but 4 matches in the last year. He's going to go in and he's going to beat Roman Reigns, a guy who's been positioned as a top heel on SmackDown for months now. Top of his game. People say he's been carrying SmackDown. He's going to beat Roman Reigns. Or he's going to beat Drew McIntyre. The same Drew McIntyre who's been carrying Raw for all of 2020. You're building up Edge to beat one of those 2 guys? And it only makes sense that it's Roman Reigns because Roman Reigns is the heel. So, what sense does that make? Obviously, it makes sense for Roman Reigns to beat Edge. Alright, but once again, Roman Reigns is not a star being made from beating Edge. Roman Reigns has literally been a star since 2015. Roman Reigns has literally main event at WrestleMania like 5 times in a row. It's not a star-making performance for him by beating Edge. It's just another accolade under his wide range of things he's done in the last 6 years. So it'll make the most sense for him to wrestle Drew McIntyre, but then at that point, you're going to turn Drew heel? That just seems unnecessary to me. It seems like any way you go, it just seems like it doesn't make a lot of sense for the match to happen. And yes, I understand, but they're having a contract with Peacock, so it makes it, but If you would have took time to build up somebody from your roster over the course of a year to challenge someone like a Roman Reigns or Drew McIntyre WrestleMania and win the Rumble match, you wouldn't be in this position where you need to rely on part-timers to wrestle Drew or Roman. Am I wrong? I still stand by that. Now, I did see a really, really cool comment on the video that explained why they think that it was fine. They liked Edge. And my thing is, if you like Edge winning the Rumble, I don't have an issue with that. Like, you can like whoever you want winning the Rumble. You can like whoever the hell you want. My issue was more so that Edge is a part-timer, or was at least a part-timer. Edge is a part-timer. He has already had his moment. This could have went to somebody else who could have been built up as a new star in the making. However, my video is null and void now because Edge wrestled on Monday Night Raw. He wrestled Randy Orton this Monday on Raw to end out their feud. And he had a full length, like it was a full match too. It wasn't one of these cockamamie, bullshit ass matches with Triple H and Randy Orton where Triple H is in the ring for like 2 minutes until Alexa Bliss comes in. No. He won the match after Alexa Bliss distracted Orton with her mouth bleeding black. She distracted Orton, Edge speared him, and he won the match. So Edge gets the victory on his first Raw back. Christian, from what I heard, is cleared to wrestle. So my hoping is that we'll get a reunion of Edge and Christian at least for a couple weeks. I don't know if I would say I would see Edge and Christian, possibly feud. I mean, it could happen. It could happen. We could see an Edge and Christian feud going into the WrestleMania. I don't want to see it, but if it happens, I'm not against it. We could also see Edge and Christian go for the tag titles going into WrestleMania. We could see a few things with Edge and Christian. I do believe the whole Edge and Christian thing is going to run its course for a little bit. I don't want to see it long term. This is not what I want to see Edge and Christian propositioned in. Even though I love the nostalgia act, it is just that, nostalgia. I don't want to see Edge and Christian beating the entire tag division. That's non-existent anyway. But I digress. Where do you go from here with Edge? Edge, yes, he's going to be facing either Drew McIntyre or Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. But getting to that point, is Edge just going to sit at home and cut promos like he did going into his match with Randy Orton at last year's WrestleMania? Or is he going to wrestle every week? Is he going to wrestle here and there? Is he going to wrestle at Fastlane? I'm not too sure. But I can tell you what I would do. I would have Edge wrestle maybe not every single week. I would have maybe 2 weeks. You would have him do promos, and then 1 week he would have a match. Have him have a match with AJ Styles. Give me Edge versus AJ Styles. Give me Edge versus another good heel on the roster. You can have Edge and AJ feud if you want to going into WrestleMania. We saw Edge and Sheamus in the ring for a hot second. Maybe Edge and Sheamus could have a feud going into the WrestleMania as well. I think Edge and Orton is done. I don't want to see them feud anymore. Edge is not even confirmed to be on the Raw brand. He's a floater. Until Edge confirms who he's facing at WrestleMania, he can go to SmackDown. He's going to be on SmackDown this Saturday. They could do Edge versus fucking Daniel Bryan on that show. They can do Edge versus Seth Rollins. I would actually like to see a feud between Seth Rollins and Edge because if you guys remember back in 2015, it was Seth Rollins who was threatening to curb stomp Edge's injured neck during a John Cena segment in 2015. So I want them to touch back on that, and we can get that. I think they did a segment in 2016 as well, but I might be wrong. But I think they did a segment in 2016 as well. Get back to that. Also, you can say that Becky Lynch disrespected Edge in 2018 and throw that in there as well, but you don't have to. I think there's avenues for Edge to wrestle on SmackDown and Raw. We don't need to have Edge protected by having him off TV. No, if Edge can wrestle, let him wrestle. That's how I see it. And who would I choose for Edge to face? Honestly and truly, I think it should be Roman Reigns. Drew McIntyre is their top babyface. It should stay that way because if Edge is going to challenge Drew, then Drew has to turn heel. I don't think a babyface versus babyface match in the main event of WrestleMania really works. I think that it makes the most sense for the babyface to either conquer the day and beat the heel, or in an extremely rare case, the heel just beats the babyface. I just don't think a babyface versus babyface match works, in my opinion. So I would have it be Roman. And who should win WrestleMania? I honestly think it should be Roman. I think that, yes, it's a story there with Edge coming back, winning a championship that he never lost, even though it's not the heavyweight championship. Winning a championship he never lost. It's a story there. I understand it. However, Roman Reigns is a top star on the brand. I don't think Roman Reigns is being built up to lose to Edge. If he does, this is nothing more than part-timers coming in and taking championships away. Now, if Edge wrestles every single week, I'm going to take back what I said, and I'm going to be like, you know what? If Edge wrestles every single week, he can beat Roman Reigns, and I won't have too much of an issue with it. I'll still have issue with a 47-year-old man being the champion, but I won't have too much of an issue with it if he's wrestling full-time. If he's not, then no, Roman should be winning. But that's where I stand with Edge, and that's where I stand with the Royal Rumble. Let's now talk about New Japan once again. It was on the Road to New Beginning show that we saw Jay White make his return yesterday in the Okada, Yano, and Ishii versus Yujiro Evil and Nick Togo match. Jay White came out after the match, attacked Ishii, laying him out with a Blade Runner, and he looked exactly the same. Jay White didn't dress differently, he didn't look differently, he was literally still the same Jay White, acting the same Jay White. The backstage interview I just watched for this podcast, he was still the same person. The exact same person. So, what are my thoughts on Jay White coming back? Am I upset he didn't go to AEW? No, I'm not upset. Am I upset he didn't go to WWE? Absolutely not upset about that. I knew he was going to stay in New Japan. I never thought for a second he was leaving and going to WWE or AEW. I'm not upset about that at all. I'm not upset about anything. But what is confusing to me is why we did all this with Jay White's story coming out of Wrestle Kingdom being that he didn't know who he was anymore. He didn't know what he was going to do. He didn't know if he could do it. The self-doubt, the self-pity, the self-shame. There was a great character development with Jay White at Wrestle Kingdom. It was something different. It was something fresh. It was something new. It could have taken Jay White in so many different directions going into what could come after. And only 25 days later, we have Jay White show up on a Road 2 show, mind you. Lay out Ishii, not Ibushi, but Tomohiro Ishii. When he laid out Ishii, I said, why are you attacking Ishii? What did Ishii do to you that makes sense for you to attack? Like, if he came out and he attacked Ibushi, that makes sense. If he came out and he attacked Naito, I could understand it. But Ishii doesn't make any sense to me. The backstage promo he does, he's talking about, this is the real Bullet Club. We're not some rip-off, cheap Bullet Club trying to recreate the past, trying to regain relevance, trying to do some corny reunion to sell shitty t-shirts, taking hot shots at the Elite, which everyone's like, oh, he's taking shots at the Bullet Club in America. Da, da, da. You're like, guys, I literally don't give a fuck about any of this shit. But he's now talking about, I'm gunning for Ishii because he made the mistake at the Wrestle Kingdom of questioning himself and doubting himself, and I was wrong about my destino. This is what he said. I was just missing one little piece. Missing one bald little round piece. And he begins to blame Ishii. He begins to blame Ishii beating him at G1 Climax 30 for the reason why his destino was all messed up, which makes zero fucking sense. This makes zero sense. And I know some of you about to say, but Tyler, Ishii did beat Jay White in a G1 Climax and ruined his chance of going to the finals. But no, it doesn't make any sense because Jay White ended up beating Ibushi for the briefcase anyway. Yes, it ruined Jay White's winning G1 Climax. I understand that. But Jay White literally beat Ibushi for the briefcase. Then walked into Wrestle Kingdom and faced Ibushi for the championship. Where exactly does Ishii segue into anything that is wrong with Jay White here? Yes, I understand Ishii beat Jay White, but in no way after Ishii beating Jay White does he factor into the reason why Jay White lost at Wrestle Kingdom. Ishii didn't interfere in a match at Wrestle Kingdom. Did he? Ishii had literally nothing to do with Jay White breaking down. It was all about Jay White breaking down because he's self-doubting himself. He didn't know if he could do it. He lost to Kota Ibushi at Wrestle Kingdom. So where does Ishii factor into these plans exactly? So the idea of Jay White coming back, no gimmick change, no sense of new direction, the same person coming back to feud with Ishii, of all people, is a waste to me. It's a waste, a complete waste. They had an opportunity to do something different with Jay White, and they missed the boat. Much like New Japan does all the time. They wait too long to do shit. Naito winning the championship at Wrestle Kingdom against Okada. Great moment, but guess what? They could have did it 2 years earlier. Kota Ibushi winning the belt from Naito at this year's Wrestle Kingdom. Great moment, but guess what? He could have did it 1 year early with Okada. It's stuff like this, and it's like I feel like they probably gonna do something later on. Now, apparently what I'm hearing is that they're gonna have Jay White and Evil and Yujiro going after Ishii and Goto and Yoshihashi or whoever the hell is holding the Never Six titles. Jay White may possibly be gunning after the Never Six-man tag team championships. So Jay White essentially is stepping down. Jay White lost to Ibushi, and he's been bumped out of the main event picture for right now. That's how I see this. Which, like I said, if they're gonna build Jay White back up, fine, but they had an opportunity to turn him face. They had an opportunity to have him come out as a different person, but he is the same. Nothing changed. It's like the whole thing at Wrestle Kingdom, the whole segment, the whole interview almost never even happened. That's what frustrates me. They did all of that, and it's like nothing even happened. It's like WWE. When guys will have some big spot happen to them, and then the next day, they show up happy-go-lucky. Jay White is John Cena. He gets beat up, and then nothing happened to him. He acknowledged that he self-doubted himself, but damn, you could have at least dragged it out a bit longer. I'm not saying that Jay White could have never went back to the same character he was before, but they could have dragged it out. He's going to be at the next Korakuen Hall show with Evil and Yujiro and Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa to take on the rest of Chaos. I don't know, bro. They missed the boat on Jay White. We'll see what they do with Jay White going forward, but missed opportunity. His stock was so high, and now people are going to care less. But anyway, guys, that was Chill Spill episode 32. What did you guys think? Comment down below. Let your boy know. I love you guys as always, and I will see you all next week for my review of New Beginning in Hiroshima. Peace out, guys.